Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. Today we have a new story for you. My brother proposed to my fiancé, his ex, and I'm pissed. My 28, male, brother, Mark, 26, male, used to date my fiancé, Jen, 26, female, a year ago. For context, they dated back in August 2022. They were only together for a month, before he broke things off with her, because he was bored of being in a relationship, and never really wanted to settle down anyway. At the time they were dating, I was in a different state, so I had no idea he even had a girlfriend, and I had no idea who Jen was until I met her. Jen and I met at a bar when I moved back in October and hit it off really well. She was easily the most beautiful and intelligent woman I ever met, and we met up a few times more before we made it official. Fast forward to December, and I finally brought her up to my family and proposed they meet her at Christmas. They knew I was in a relationship, but I'm not the most open about my personal life, so I kept details about her to a minimum until I knew how serious we really were. My parents asked to see pictures and they started passing my phone around the dinner table. Mark saw it and blew up calling me a shit brother for dating his ex-girlfriend, and he demanded I break it off with her. I refused. When I asked Jen about it, she confirmed they dated and gave me the details about their breakup. It took a few weeks, but eventually Mark stopped bringing up me dating his ex, and I thought he was over it. On Jen's birthday this year, I took her out to a fancy dinner with both of our families and her closest friends, and I asked her to marry me. Mark flipped once again and blew up about me proposing to her, which I and my sisters immediately shut down. The incident happened this past weekend. Mark had been pretty quiet about the whole thing for the last 2 months. I didn't see him much, and figured he went low contact with me, which I had no problem with. Then he invited me and Jen for family dinner at his apartment with my parents and sisters. I thought it was weird, but my parents and sisters were also going, so we agreed to go. The dinner was nice, nothing too fancy, and we moved to the living room to talk. About 30 minutes into normal conversation, Mark stood up and told us he had an announcement. He made a long speech about being happy to have his family around for his big moment, then got on one knee and pulled out this cheap ring, while asking Jen to marry him. Jen was confused and obviously uncomfortable and demanded that he put it away and stand up. My dad tried to make a grab for Mark, but I got to him first and punched him. I won't repeat most of it, mostly because I was too angry to even listen most of it, but he said something along the lines of wanting to show me that Jen wasn't really into me and just wanted to get back at him. Before it could get worse, my parents rushed me out and promised to talk to him. It's been a few days since it happened and I'm still pissed off. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm scared Jen might have second thoughts marrying me because of this. Any advice? Edit, first, thanks for reading and responding. I've been reading the comments between last night and this morning and valid points were made. There isn't an update since the only people I've spoken to since that dinner are Jen and my little sister. I want to clarify a few things that I saw in the comments. 1. Jen and I are newly engaged. It was one of those feelings where we both knew we were in it for the long run. As fast as it is, I'm sure about her. 2. When we met, I was the one who approached her, not the other way around. Whether she knew or had suspicions of us being related, I don't know. I asked after finding out they dated and she says she had no idea. I didn't have a reason to doubt that, but I can admit this, seemingly, overreaction on Mark's part, does raise red flags. 3. I had no idea she and Mark dated when I met her. Mark and I aren't close at all. We used to be, but as we grew up we drifted and talked less and less. Before I moved back, we didn't really speak much aside from special days like his or my birthday. Jen knew of my family, but not much, until I decided I was ready to introduce them to her. When she and Mark met, again, I didn't get a sense of any residual feelings on either part. She didn't treat him like a stranger, but she also wasn't overly affectionate with him either. 4. I was told this was a relationship that lasted a month. I didn't think I needed permission from Mark to ask her to marry me, but maybe that was wrong of me. I'm not sure. That being said, I plan to talk to Mark this weekend to lay everything out on the table and figure out what's up. I never asked for his side of their relationship, which is my fault for not doing my due diligence. If anything major or enlightening happens, I'll update. But for now, that's all I have. So, I think we can all agree that your brother is an idiot, a huge idiot. He has no respect for you, for your fiancé and for your family, since he made them go through an embarrassing situation like this. My God, seriously, what is wrong with him? Is he that kind of idiot who only wants something when someone else has it? Or is it because you are the one with her? When you guys were growing up, was he the type who was jealous of everything you had? Because besides being an idiot, he seems like an extremely selfish person. If he had really liked Jen, he wouldn't have broken up with her after 1 month, and then never tried to talk or see her again. I doubt that he even remembered her existence until you showed her pic, and then came up with this whole ridiculous thing, because he is an a-hole. I know it's not great when we date an ex of a sibling or friend, especially without their approval, but in this case, stay with your fiancé and tell your brother to F off. Jesus Christ, with a brother like that who needs enemies? And what did you guys think of this situation? What advice would you give OP? Don't forget to leave your opinions down below. Now let's read some of OP's replies, and then go to the update. Block your brother out of your life for good, that's the only way you and your fiancé will be able to live peacefully. Don't listen to his family BS if anyone tries to give it to you. Thankfully I haven't heard his family shit much aside from my mom and a few aunts. They know me well enough to know our relationship isn't enough for me to put up with his disrespect, especially towards my fiancé. They'd be wasting their breath. From what I understood, they met in October and got engaged around Christmas. So yeah, kinda fast. Not saying the brother is not a jerk here, but this seems weird. Met in October brought her to meet the family in December. We got engaged this year. At the beginning of the post you say, they were only together for a month before he broke things off with her, because he was bored of being in a relationship, and never really wanted to settle down anyway. How do you know this was his attitude towards her, when you say you didn't know he had a girlfriend as well, as you don't really talk to him? It came from Jen when I asked if they really dated. I'm going to talk to Mark and ask him why they broke up since I never asked for his side. I think it's clear that your brother doesn't even like, nor want Jen. He doesn't even see her as human. He sees her as an object, a toy that he didn't want, but seeing someone else with it makes him go, "No, mine." Like a effing child. So he's acting out and trying to drive a wedge between y'all, in order to get his way. If he liked her, he would care about how she feels. If he liked her, he'd want her to be happy. He doesn't like her. So forget the tantrum he's trying to pull and block him. No need to entertain that shit. Wow, he's that ex. It sounds like your brother needs more time away from Jen, before he can be a normal acquaintance/future brother-in-law. You and Jen should go low contact, for at least 6 months to 1 year, to ensure he moves on properly. I think he has moved on, they dated a month, and he broke up with her. He doesn't see her as a person, but he puts down the toy he doesn't want, and now someone else is touching it, so he is having a tantrum. And what do you guys think of all this? What would you do if you were OP? Is there something else that you would advise to OP to do? If so, don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. Now let's go to the update. Oh, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the update. Update: my brother proposed to my fiancé, his ex, and I'm pissed. First, I want to thank everyone for reading. It's been a busy weekend, so I haven't had the chance to reply to many people, but I did edit in responses to the most common questions I saw in the comments of the original post. Again, thank you. I appreciate it all, even the criticisms. Now for the update. I called Mark and asked him to meet up with me at my place to talk. I told him I would prefer Jen to be around for the talk as well, but I was cool with it if he didn't want her there. He agreed to talk to both of us and showed up at my place around noon today. It was pretty quiet for a few minutes before I started the conversation. I apologized for not warning him I would be proposing to Jen, and I apologized for hitting him. He said it was whatever, but he appreciated the apology. I told him what Jen had said about the relationship and breakup when I asked her about it, and I asked him to confirm if it was true. I pretty much said that his reaction throughout this whole thing has been extreme, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding their relationship or downplaying how serious they were. He confirmed that they only dated for a few weeks, and he broke up with her because he lost interest. Jen asked if he was acting like this because he still had feelings or regrets about ending things with her. He said he could admit he thought she was more attractive than when he last saw her, but there weren't any feelings or regrets. He said he just didn't like seeing a girl he dated, even if it was short-term, with his older brother, and as a man I shouldn't have violated him by pursuing things with his ex. I reminded him that I had no idea they dated, so it wasn't like I consciously did this knowing their history together. He shrugged me off and said it didn't matter, I still should have broken it off. He was adamant that if the roles were reversed, he would have done the same thing, which I doubt. I asked him why he proposed to her, if he didn't have any lingering feelings. Basically, to sum it up, he was talking about it to one of his buddies who was around when Mark and Jen dated, and the guy put the idea in his head that maybe Jen knew from the start that we were related, and was doing this to get back at him, considering Jen had been hung up on him after they ended. He and his friend thought it would be a good idea to test it and see if they were right, so he came up with the idea to propose and see if she dumped me for him. Jen asked him to elaborate on why he thought she was hung up on him, and he told her that he heard she was asking about him following the breakup, and still hanging out at the places they used to go to, so it was a valid assumption. Then for her to pop up randomly with his brother affirmed his suspicions. Jen told him she'd only asked about him once following the breakup and she'd been hanging out at those places with friends before they started dating, and she wouldn't avoid them because of a breakup. She also told him she was offended at the idea that she would go as low as to pursue me, just to get back at him. He shrugged and gave her a half-assed apology, but said she had to see it from his point of view. He asked her if she really didn't know, and she told him that she didn't see the resemblance in us, until we were in the same room and we act nothing alike, so it never crossed her mind, and he said okay. That pretty much wrapped up the conversation. He did tell me before he left that I could take back his invite to the wedding, because he can't bring himself to support our relationship, knowing he used to date her. I told him he didn't have to worry about that, as he was most likely going to be uninvited anyway. It's been a few hours since our talk and I do feel better. My parents aren't too happy about him being uninvited, but they understood that it was a mutual decision and probably for the best. My sisters told me they knew he didn't have a good reason for being an a-hole, and they don't blame me for not wanting him at the wedding. As of now, I'm going to limit contact with Mark, and I doubt he'll reach out to me anytime soon either. Once again, I want to thank everyone for reading and commenting, and if anything significant happens, I'll update again. More info. Does your brother have any mental illness of any sort? Paranoid schizophrenia / BIPD / narcissistic personality disorder / etc.? No, he's just an ass. Growing up he was mildly arrogant and entitled since he was spoiled by my parents, but I thought he grew out of it since he was more on the quiet and reserved side in high school. We hadn't discussed my family much in the beginning of our relationship. I left home to get away from them, my parents specifically, and started reconciling at my sister's request, when I decided to move back home. I was open about not being close with them when Jen asked, and she was okay with being left in the dark considering the circumstances. And we did talk about the news and sports more than the average couple. Surprisingly, Jen's a basketball fan. As my sisters have said, this was a very Mark thing to do. Personally, I'm not surprised that his reasons are so stupid. I'm more surprised by the lengths he went through just to test a baseless theory. Hopefully the loss of contact with us will give him a chance to reflect and mature a little. So we have confirmation. OP's brother is just another selfish idiot, who thinks everything in the world revolves around him. Unfortunately, nothing new here. A normal person, who really cared about his brother, would have taken his suspicions to him and talked. Instead of doing that ridiculous proposal. A real brother would have cared more about his brother being used by someone than his hurt ego. Because let's be real here, that's what's happening. In his ridiculous and narcissistic mind, he believes Jen chose OP over him. Oh, and why doesn't it surprise me that this is a behavior he has exhibited since he was a child, and that his parents, instead of correcting him, treat him like the golden child. Good decision with going no/low contact with him. It will be the best for OP and his fiancé. But I believe OP is expecting too much when he thinks that this distance between them will change him. His brother knows who he is. He showed this very well with everything he did and said to them, and apparently he has no intention of changing. I can't get over the fact that he only dated her for a few weeks, doesn't tell you at all, and then still expects you to break up with someone that he apparently was not interested in at all. He has some shitty friends. The fact that he doubled down tells me he's looking at your wife more as property or used goods, rather than a human being. Not to mention the disrespect on a personal level to assume that you're not deserving of happiness, if he's already been with that person. He has a really shitty mindset. That's likely going to paint a very bad picture in the future of him. It would be one thing if they came even remotely close to a serious relationship, but a few weeks? That's hardly even dating, let alone a relationship. Definitely sounds like your brother is immature and knows he screwed up and is now just being petty and obstructive. And what did you think of this update? Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, go watch the video that is appearing on the screen right now or click on one of our playlists that are in the description to watch more videos. Until next time.